Lisa Bilyeu is on the show today. She is the co-founder of the billion-dollar company Quest Nutrition. She's also the co-founder and president of Impact Theory. And she's the host of a show that I love to watch on YouTube called Women of Impact, a show that features women who have overcome incredible hardship to achieve massive success. She's also the author of my new favorite book, Radical Confidence, 10 no BS lessons on becoming the hero of your own life. This is an inspiring and laugh out loud guide to building the kind of confidence it really takes to live the life of your dreams. Lisa, thank you for being here with us.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. That was so awesome. What a great introduction. Thank you, homie.
Well, I'm so glad. I admire you so much. I have to tell you, but you're fabulous. And your book just is so inspiring for me. And I'm sure to so many other people who pick this up. So thank you for writing this book.
Oh my God, thank you. Impact is definitely my North Star. So you have no idea how much that means to me.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're doing it. So Lisa, will you tell us what radical confidence is? What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was stuck at home for 8 years where I was living a life that I was people pleasing. It wasn't something that really filled me up. I was going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And so people see where I started from and where I am today. And I get asked all the time, Lisa, where do you get your confidence from? And girl, I'm telling you, I'm like, who are they talking to? It definitely isn't me. Because like, if you heard how mean I am to myself, how bad like the voice in my head is about what no good. Who do I think I am trying that? I'm going to fail. I'm not adequate to achieve this. And so like they wouldn't think of me as confident. So I was like, what are people seeing? And what I realized was they see me act. They see me move forward. They see me show up on camera. They see me do all these things. And so when I had to really pause and think about it, I was like, oh, they just see the momentum. And everyone is so focused on the confidence part, which let's face it, is about feeling good about yourself. But I don't think about how do I feel good about myself first. I use radical confidence, which means I'm insecure, I'm inadequate. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I'm absolutely fearful, but I still move forward anyway.
So you did that for 8 years, and then you decided that you wanted more and you wanted to tap into your radical confidence. Tell us about that switch that you made and some of your favorite takeaways and tips for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many people you know that when they've achieved incredible things, most of the time it starts from they hit rock bottom. So they almost had nothing to lose. And so they gamble and then they try things and then they learn and then they succeed. But for me, I never hit rock bottom. And so every day my life was just fine. It's all right. But like, did you ever dream as a kid where you're like, what do you want to be when you're older? No one, I bet, said fine, right? As a kid, that isn't the dream. And because they don't hit rock bottom, there's nothing that actually jolts you into action. And so for me, especially at first, we had decided, my dream was to make movies. So we had decided with my husband that he was going to go and make enough money and I was going to take care of everything outside of business so that he didn't have to spend 1 ounce of energy to decide on other things. I'll do that for you, babe. You go out and work for about a year and a half, and, we'll then make movies. Now, that's the thing. How many of us will sacrifice, do something in our lives for the greater good, right? This was the greater good of me and my husband making movies. I thought, I can get down for this for a year and a half. And so in those moments, though, where we then do something for the greater good, I then got stuck in what I call purgatory of the mundane, because every day over the year, I wasn't enjoying my life, but I was using gratitude as a way to remind me of how blessed I was, right? So it's like, I really freaking hate putting out clothes and cooking for my husband. But you know what? I should be really grateful that I have a husband that loves me, right? Like every time I would look at how unsettled I was like, but I should be grateful. Like, look how beautiful, I've got a roof over my head. And that is really, I should really be grateful for that. But the gratitude is exactly what kept me there, because I was saying, how ungrateful are you to want more when you have a husband that loves you? How ungrateful are you to want to have an enjoyable life when you have a roof over your head? People don't, some people struggle with that. And that is where it turned into something that was beautiful. And then it became extremely toxic. So everything I'm saying right now, I really would love the audience to think about what that version is for them. Are they just saying, I live a fine life? What was that dream that they gave up as a child? And then what are they doing for the greater good, that they're just now on the Scalextric or on the hamster wheel, where they're progressing, they're doing things, but actually you're not moving anywhere. And that's the first step in identifying where you currently are in order for you to then pivot and create the life you want.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. It's that radical confidence, that radical honesty with ourselves. So will you talk to us about growth mindset and some things that people, might not necessarily think about? Because growth mindset is really different for, I think, a lot of people who grew up conservatively and different things like that.
Yeah, I had zero idea what growth mindset was until I actually started to develop a growth mindset, which was kind of weird. But
Right.
It really is. A fixed mindset is you believe you were born the way you are, and how you are, your skill sets, everything of who you are today actually will dictate who you are and your future and what you're capable of. A growth mindset says, you know what? I may not be where I want to be today, but I can get there if I put in the time, work, and effort. It's just the belief that you can do it. If I said to myself, I want to achieve in my 40s to be the world's best pianist. Now, some people would be like, that's impossible. That's a fixed mindset. My growth mindset would say, okay, if it's possible, what would I have to do in order to achieve it? So it's not having the answers. It's not being possible right now to actually be the best pianist. It's just understanding that I have the control and I make the choices on a day-to-day on whether I build that skill set or not. Now, here's the amazing news. If you want to be able to achieve things that maybe you don't quite believe yet, it's okay. Just believing that you can change the way you think is an indicator that you have a growth mindset.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. You're giving me chills. So when people come up against resistance, like, whether it's your relationship or your parents, I feel like there are so many messages out there, right? So you can get yourself into a place where you're like, okay, I have a growth mindset. I'm going to stick with this. If you start to realize that you need more boundaries, you talked about that in the book too. What would your advice be for people who are starting to realize that they do need more boundaries with other people in their lives?
Yeah, I love the boundaries talk, because for me, I didn't even realize that I was setting boundaries. And I think most of us don't even realize, right? People may be listening now and say, oh, I don't have any boundaries. Actually, that's false. You have boundaries. You just haven't assessed where the line is. And so you're letting people cross your boundary line that is comfortable for you. Guys, we all have boundaries. We're just really loose on them and actually don't take an ownership in setting them. Now, the reason why I want to start there is because I actually feel like that's less frightening to think about than to think about, oh my God, I have zero boundaries and now I don't know how to start setting them. So now when you realize you actually have them, and now it's a choice and your responsibility to show up and decipher and define where those boundaries are and what's the line that people can cross and can't. So what I would say is actually start with, what is the problem in your life that you feel like, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a situation that sometimes gets you triggered. That's kind of the thing that I go to. I don't judge myself for not knowing where my boundaries are. I just go, cool, if this is my responsibility, how do I show up? First step is, what are the things that keep becoming uncomfortable for you, where you feel like people keep overstepping the mark? Is it a situation? Is it a person? Then you have to write that down. Now, when it comes to boundaries, I used to, because I was so fearful about setting them, I would come in like a bit of a bull, right? Like, don't you do that. That's crossing my boundary.
Yes. Yes.
And we all know.
Been there.
Right? What's someone going to do, right? Imagine someone came to you. In fact, has someone ever come to you and said, I'm going to set a boundary?
Like, no, not like that. But I've definitely been on the receiving end of someone being like really intense.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't even mean it like that. I'm sorry. Thanks for telling me.
Exactly. That's my perfect point, is that some people may not even realize that they've crossed a boundary.
Right.
So when you come to someone with any type of aggression or firmness, they're going to put up their walls and they're going to be defensive. So if it's a relationship you really want with somebody and you're looking to set a boundary, go in there with grace, go in there with understanding that actually it may be difficult for them at first, But you have to go in knowing why you're setting the boundary in the first place. That's going to be the most imperative starting point. Because there's going to be times people aren't going to respect what you say. There's going to be times where you show up and you say, hey, look, I'm going to set this boundary, and people are going to either laugh at you, cross it, disrespect it. And so in those moments, how do you stand firm in it? It all starts with the belief and understanding of why you're doing it in the first place.
Yes. And do you think that the underpinning of that would be your self-worth and like clearly defined goals?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So the self-worth part is absolutely a part of it, because you have to believe in yourself to then understand why someone may be crossing it. You have to really evaluate, what is that line? What is the thing that you're willing to give up? Because that's also a thing. I'm not even just saying you put up boundaries and there's no negotiation. When there's someone in your life that you really care about, having the discussion about the boundaries and why you're setting them in the first place is going to be imperative. So the self-worth part, the validation part, the knowing why you're setting them in the first place is absolutely the foundation to all of this.
And Lisa, with everything that you've accomplished just in so many areas of your life, before we let you go, what is the one thing that you feel the most radically confident about? What are you most proud of? And it might be all of them, because you've done so many great things.
Thank you. I think really I'm most proud of the fact that I'm the person that keeps showing up no matter what. And what I mean by that is I fail all the time. I'm nervous and petrified all the freaking time. Like when I start anything new, even now, I've helped build a $1 billion company. I've helped build Impact Theory, who has, our content has over 500 million views on the stuff that we do. And yet I get a book offer and I'm still like terribly scared. And the first words out of my mouth, literally the first words, girl, was, who on earth would buy a book from me? And so what I'm the most proud of is that I still have radical confidence. That means that I still feel the fear. I still have the negative voice. I still have the doubts. But yet, no matter what, I still show up. When I fall and fail, I get back up. And the great news is about all of that, no one but me has that control. No one but me has the ability to get back up. And so now you can understand, going back to the validation piece, it's all internal. It's all about, did I show up? Did I write the book? Did I show up in front of the camera when I was fearful? Did I get on stage when I was petrified? No one can touch that except for me. So that's what I love, the fact that I can validate myself.
Oh my gosh. Amen. I love it. So amazing. Lisa, I'm fired up now, ready to take on the rest of the day. I know everyone else feels the same way too. Where can people get your book and get into their own radical confidence?
Yeah, thank you, girl. So you can go to radicalconfidence.com. I'm offering a bunch of bonuses over there, because to me, like, my goal really is how to create global impact and it stick. And so I'm trying to give content and as much as I possibly can. And so I've actually got this 9-part coaching series that you can go over to Radical Confidence right now and get completely for free if you purchase the book. I'm also thinking about the future and what other content I can give for free that's exclusive to the book buyers. So if you go over to Radical Confidence, that's the place that you'll get all the goodies. But you also can get it from Amazon and Target, have both been amazing partners to me.
Amazing. And of course, they can find you on YouTube, Women of Impact, and on your social media. So, well, thank you, Lisa, so much for being here. This is amazing. I can't wait to take the workshop. I'm going to be doing all the radically confident things.
Hell yeah, girl. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so wonderful.
Amazing. Well, take care, Lisa.
You too, sweetie. Bye.
For the full interview, just check out the BZen with Brit podcast.